Welcome to the Health Rant of the Week, episode 20. Hi, my name is Alejandro Flori, Certified Fitness and Nutrition Coach. Today, I'm going to talk about decision making. Okay, so to begin with, I wanted to ask you, so what do these people have in common? Right? Mel Robbins, Napoleon Hill, Bob Proctor, Brandon Bouchard, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, and Stephen Covey. Right? You know, beyond the obvious, which is they're all well-known, famous, they're authors, and they're rich. You know, some of them are celebrities, some of them are not, I guess, in their own right. The most important thing to this episode is they all talk about decision making, and so on, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So the most important thing for someone to make a change and to make to achieve a goal when it comes to their health, to their fitness, to their nutrition, to their weight loss, to their body transformation, whatever it is, starts with the decision, right? So first is the decision to transform, to change things for good. I mean, to actually make a different lifestyle choice that will lead to you being a healthier person. All right, now that doesn't only apply to fitness or health. All right, so if you think about it, everything in life, I mean, you are in a fork on the road for pretty much everything that you possibly encounter. All right, so whether it is relationships, or it is jobs, or whether it is a career, it is, you know, settling, you know, in a specific city, or having a family or not having a family, everything requires a decision. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because the whole week I've been talking about the things what it takes for you and your mindset in order to make progress and to really achieve your goal when it comes to, we're going to talk about health, right? Fitness, nutrition, weight loss, transformation, whatever it is. The most important thing starts with the decision. However, you out there, you may get the feeling that, well, maybe not now, maybe we'll look into it later, maybe, you know, so I am going to reserve my right of making a decision. That in itself is making a decision. So your decision not to challenge the status quo, not to make anything different, that is a decision. And that decision, whether you like it or not, it's going to lead to consequences. All right. So, and this is the reason I think I am very, very inspired and driven to do this video, is because I've met like three different types of people. Like one, you know, the one that basically ignores all the signs, and they think that, okay, so, you know, it's just going to mind my business, and I am not going to do anything differently than, you know, it's just my job, whatever it is. And you know, I'm okay the way I am. All right. And those people just, you know, they live in, you know, sometimes they live in pain. Sometimes they, you know, they live in frustration. Sometimes they are, you know, they're depressed, but they want to, at all cost, avoid making the decision. Then there are the ones that avoid making the decision, and it's life-changing for the worse. And unfortunately, I have met quite a few people like that. You know, I've met people that, you know, they have obvious problems with their health and their weight and inflammation and like visceral fat and things like that. And then I see them like 2 years later, and then, well, you know, now I have diabetes. And I see them a little later, it's like, well, now I have like glaucoma, and now I have this, and now I have this. And they are deteriorating as they go. But they do not want to make a decision to make anything different, to move forward regardless of that. And unfortunately, the system that we live in allows for us to say like, oh, that's just aging. Oh, well, that's just, like ethnicity. Oh, no, that's just, and as much as all of those can be catalysts for you to be healthier or unhealthier, like your genes, all those things, the truth is that gene expression, all right, which is the triggers that will force or develop certain, conditions or illnesses, is much more important. And the conditions that will actually lead to that gene expressing that, diabetes or autoimmune, depending on your ethnicity or your background, whatever it is much more important than the fact that you have those or those pre-existing features, if not conditions, that will get you to develop like a certain type of whatever cancer or heart attack or stroke or those things. So gene expression and lifestyle are much more important. It's a known fact by now that is much more important. So it's not enough for you to say like, well, I knew this was going to happen because it's been generational in my family, like everyone has had that. Well, if there's one person or two or three in your family, in your same generation, that have not developed a specific type of condition that most other people have, they're doing something different. It's their lifestyle, all right, or it's their gene expression. So it's whatever they are doing is keeping them from, like developing a certain condition. So that's number one. And of course, the ones that really actually motivate me to do these videos are the ones that say like that, I find them at a different point in their lives, and they go like, wow, like they look different, they feel different, like they radiate, more energy and things. The people that have challenged that status quo and they have moved forward and they have actually made decisions to better their life, better their health, and they have taken ownership. So all I'm trying to say is that the fact that you don't challenge, or your status quo, that you don't force yourself to get out of your comfort zone, doesn't mean that you're not making a decision. It just means that you're making a decision not to change anything. But with that, unfortunately, if you grab a rock, like a jagged rock, and you throw it into like a stream of water, and you come a year later, it's going to look different. And you come like 2 years later, it's going to look different. And you come 3 years later, it's going to look different. So the same thing is going to happen to you. I mean, you not making a decision does not equate to nothing is going to change, right? So not making, or making the decision not to change, which is the way it should be expressed, is actually putting you in a position where you cannot improve, but that doesn't mean that you cannot get worse. Talking about health, specifically, that applies, as I said, to whatever, to relationships. It applies to money. It applies to like just not opening an envelope doesn't mean that the statement is not going to be in there, right? It doesn't mean that the good news are not there. It just means that the next time you look, call that a statement or a blood test, for example, then the news are going to be worse. That's basically what it is. So when things get to that point, well, then it's an emergency. And now you have to make a decision that will potentially end or like really shorten your life, or a decision that you have to make, or someone else is going to make it for you, that will have to move you forward. All right, so those are the things. I believe is either Stephen Covey or Tony Robbins that talks about making more decisions more often, good or bad. You need to exercise your decision-making muscles, right? So talking about muscles, well, that's basically it, right? Decisions, making the decision to it. A bad decision, like if you're a trader, for example, or you're an investor, or you're, and you go into a bad trade, that's a bad decision. How do you make up for that bad decision? By getting out of that trade. That's it. Don't roll with it. Don't roll with a bad trade. I mean, you have to just make the decision to overcome that mistake. That's basically what it is. The same thing applies to life. The same thing applies to health. So you made a decision. Now, when you make your decision, make it often, make it consciously, and roll with it. Now, when it comes to your health, if you're making positive decisions, you need to just to adhere to that decision. When you're making bad decisions, you have to take like the trader's attitude. Like, don't roll with your losses. Just cut your losses short and make the next decision that is going to move you potentially in a different direction. Because the last thing you want is like the first red flag that I get from someone that wants to start a plan is that statement of, I've tried everything. That alone is a red flag, because it means that they have not committed to anything. When they tell me, well, I've tried everything, Alejandro. I've done Weight Watchers, I've done Dr. Bernstein, I've done Nutrisystems, I've done I have met few, but I have met people that have really taken seriously Weight Watchers, to name something, and they have had good results. Am I saying that that's better? I don't necessarily agree with. There's always something about their system that I don't necessarily agree with, but that doesn't mean that they don't work. But the people that don't only try, the people that actually go and do it, and they do it for whatever it takes, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. So you cannot expect to lose 150 pounds in 3 months that you have put on for the last 15 years. It just doesn't work like that. All right? Am I saying that you have to do it over 15 years? Absolutely not. And your body will adapt, it will improve, and will regain a healthy weight like as soon as you give it the opportunity. That's what I'm saying. But for you to get into that state where you're going to get to the point where you know what you have to do, and you understand and have learned enough from your body to get it back into that shape, it's not going to take necessarily a week or 2 weeks or 6 weeks. It may take up to a year. I've had awesome results with clients in 3 months, but I have had like the best results with clients that have been doing the program for a year, over 100 pounds weight loss, 65 pounds weight loss, that kind of thing, right? So that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's a decision. You make the decision. It's a positive one. You roll with it, all right? And forget about looking sideways, as in, like this, just the next magic pill or whatever Dr. Oz says, or whatever is in the magazines, or whatever is trendy, okay? So you have to stick to a plan and get to the results with that plan. If it doesn't make sense, you don't have to start. If it does make sense, don't talk yourself out of it. Get the results. Make the decision to stick to it. Okay? So that's just it sounds a little vague, but it's important for you to exercise the decision-making muscles. Make more decisions more often. Change them slowly, as Stephen Covey says. All right? So Alejandro Fleury, Certified Fitness and Nutrition Coach. I will see you next week with another video.